Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me yours. Hello, everyone. You are listening to the MC Lars podcast. It is Monday, May 18th. This is episode 90, 2020, in case you didn't know what year it is. It's hard to know what day it is, what year it is as we wait in quarantine. This has gone on longer than any of us probably had anticipated. We were looking forward to seeing Rage Against the Machine, and I know this is kind of like a minor thing, but we bought tickets for August. Nope. Show's canceled. My show in Pennsylvania later next month at Too Many Games got rescheduled, as did my Palo Alto show. I'm still maybe playing a show in August in Sacramento, Comic-Con, but it's unclear. We just had a kid, so we are home taking care of him, staying with family outside of New York. And it's been interesting. It's been wonderful staying with our mother-in-law and her husband. And it's been, getting stuff done. I mean, it's interesting how I talked about this online. You get little chunks of time to get things done. And thankfully, I did most of these podcasts. Actually, all the podcasts you'll hear for the next few weeks, I recorded before the baby came. And some of them I actually recorded before the coronavirus lockdown. 2 of them, actually. So that's interesting to hear the differences in what we talk about, but also things haven't changed that much too. But I want to give a shout out to Ash Wednesday because she's a wonderful mom, and this has been fun. Being a dad is fun. I don't mind not sleeping, like holding a kid, holding a baby and feeding them and having them react to you. And even though he's 2 weeks old, he's gaining weight, our son Atlas, even though he's not talking yet, pretty soon he'll be laying down sick raps. Okay, this week's episode is brought to you by the Patreon Larsons. As always, I want to shout out the old ones, Kayla, Aaron, and Emery, and shout out to the new ones, Shannon, Jeremy, and Rachel. If you sign up, not only do you get all the songs, like the 100+ songs that you only get through Patreon, you get access to my entire back catalog with rarities you may not have. If you donate at a certain level, you get merch, you get signed artwork, all sorts of flavor. Basically, Patreon's tight, and Patreon now is the diaper fund. So if you want me to not be covered in feces, that's gross. No, I'm serious. Patreon's tight. Patreon.com/MCLars. I just dropped the Black Panther song, and then next month we got Spider-Man Homecoming and Doctor Strange. I'm doing all the MCU movies. By the end of the summer, we'll get to Endgame. Then we'll wait a bit, and when Black Widow comes out, we'll do that. That's what's up. Now it's time for this new segment of the show where people call in and leave a message to our new baby boy. It's called Letters to Atlas. Here we go. Is he sleeping? Is he pooping? Just checking in. How's the little boy doing? These are some messages that you left. Wishing our little baby boy the best. Now it's time for Letters to Atlas.
Please leave a message after the tone.
Yeah, this message is for Atlas Nielsen from his mommy. He's being a pretty good boy today. He's nursing. He's 2 days old, and he is so precious, but he does make me a little bit brain dead. And I just think that his daddy is so nice for setting up this account for him. And he's really special, so I hope he always knows how much we love him and how we do anything for him. And that he's so special, and we're very lucky. We feel lucky that he is in our lives. We're lucky, lucky, lucky. Love you, Mommy.
That was cute. Thank you, Ash. Ash was actually the second person to call in after Aaron and leave a message for her son, for our son. That's what's up. So what else? Oh, shoot. I did a collab with so many nerdcore artists, like every nerdcore artist I know. Not everyone, but definitely some of my favorites. And that is coming out at the end of the month. It's got Mega Ram, Beefy, Shave of the Dark Lord, Sky Blue, MC Frontalot, Whitey Cracker, Lex the Lexicon Artist, and former Fat Boys. It's called Revenge of the Nerds 2. I'm going to post a link where you can pre-save it. If you do that, the Spotify algorithms will recommend it to you and your friends. That's what I'm learning. So that is going to be my first time collaborating with 8 other artists, produced by Rich Matthew, and it's a great track. Speaking of Rich Matthew worked with Uncle Meg, aka Maximus Skaff from Handjob Academy. And Maximus Skaff directed my video with Watsky, Never Afraid. He's a really, really talented rapper, producer, artist. He talks about growing up with a transgender identity in West Virginia, what it was like moving to New York, and basically his career in Handjob Academy and after. It was a really, really cool interview. We did this remotely. And in the show notes, check it out. I posted a video he took of New York where he edited together footage right after the lockdown. It's very spooky and dope and very historical, like piece of brave journalism. So check that out. It's in the show notes, and check out his music. The Bandcamp link is in there too. But let's get into it. This is my interview with Maximus Skaff right here on the MC Lars podcast. Holler. Hello, friends. I'm talking to Maximus Skaff, director, producer, rapper, artist, and friend. And we are doing this podcast remotely because we're all still in quarantine, right?
Yeah. Been in quarantine. What is this, like week 3? We're going on week 3, or is this 4 already? Who knows?
It's hard to keep track.
I don't know what day it is.
We fled the city about 3 weeks ago because, as you know, we're having our kid, and we didn't want to be dealing with all the craziness of the hospitals. You sent a really dope video of like the early days of quarantine. Like, talk about that. That was crazy.
So I would say that my quarantine really started March 13th was my last day working in Manhattan, because I work, 2 or 3 days a week at a ballet studio, along with, my freelance work and my artwork. So I officially left the city March 13th, and I started quarantine then. But then that week, March 19th, a lot of people, I actually had 3 or 4 people that was like, yo, like you need to go out and document this. I broke my quarantine, March 19th, and I went out and filmed and made this like very apocalyptic video of the empty streets of New York City.
So have you been out of the house much since then, or was that kind of like a one-time like thing?
I have not been on the subway since, and
okay.
I don't plan to, because it's like at this point it's like, the virus is everywhere. You can't really avoid it if you're in the city, but I go out every morning, on the nice days, and I went on a run this morning, or, I go to this park called Highland Park near me, and I'll do a bike ride and meditation there. Been spending a lot of time in cemeteries with the dead people and stuff, so
they can't give it to you.
No, they're the safest ones here.
So when you went out, then it was early on, so it was a little safer because the virus had spread less.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I would say it was safer, but I mean, I bet it's even more empty now. Because there was still a couple people on the streets then.
There's that clip that was especially evocative to me of that dude doing like pull-ups on the street sign.
He was kind of like hanging out on the corner. I thought I was so interested, and that was one of the like last scenes that I shot that day. I was literally going into the subway at where was I? I was right at Bryant Park, because I had just filmed Grand Central. Yeah, he was one of the last ones I ran into. He was just hanging out on the corner, and he had his was he wearing a mask? He was wearing gloves and touching this stuff, So I was just like, I've seen people do that type of stuff in New York City,
Sure.
Doing the push-ups and stuff on the scaffolding, but I never seen it with, the quarantine gear on. So I thought it was just like, oh my God, here's an empty street in Midtown Manhattan. None of these, corporate workers are here. And here's just a dude just flipping around like it's a jungle, and even when I was there, I was like, yo, this can be somebody's playground right now, because nobody's out here. You can do whatever you want, really.
It's like that, the mind game of what would you do if you could freeze time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like everyone stayed still, right? The people who are able to access the city. And then there's that scene, I think you end with it and you start with it. I might be wrong about that, but that person's looking at you while you're filming him.
That was the last shot I did.
Okay.
So that was coming home on the train where that guy's looking at me. And at that point, I was just like, I was done for the day. And I'm like, yo, like me and this dude literally had a stare down, you know, and when I go out and I document, and I'm doing like documentary work, it's like you kind of have to be a little fearless, and like I push people's boundaries, and I stick the camera, you know, in people's faces, right. And you know, me and I don't know why I held it on him for so long. Like usually I'd back away a little sooner than that, but I'm like, I got a good like 20 seconds on this dude looking like he's gonna kick my ass, but I'm like, yeah, he not gonna get out that seat. I already know that.
Were you were in the same car?
Deliberately pointing the camera at him.
Did he say anything to you, or was just eye contact?
Nothing, just eye contact,
Wow.
just that stare. And that's why I wanted to end it with that, because it was just such an interesting moment, because it's like he's probably like, what is this guy thinking of me? And I'm like, what is this guy thinking of me? Is he pissed? Is he just like curious? I couldn't tell, you know? So
yeah. Or like who is this an art project, or is this person FaceTiming someone, right? Like, are you in filming? I guess he probably knew you were filming.
Oh,
right?
yeah, no, I had my big camera out. Like I had,
wow.
I had the gear out.
Right. So it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. I had the fucking big camera on my shoulder, like the lenses, right. You know, the whole, you know, handheld rig. So it was like,
wow. I had this vision of you with your phone, but you have that super nice camera. Mm-hmm. Wow. So you're a true artist, committed to your craft. You grew up in West Virginia.
Yes, I did.
And how are they handling the COVID-19 stuff? Have you been talking to any friends or family from back there?
Yeah, I've been in touch with my family a lot. You know, we keep in touch. And my grandmother, I don't think a lot of people are honestly taking it very seriously, which is why I wanted to make that video in the first place, because I felt like, okay, here's New York City, the most populated city in America, and the most like economically driven for small businesses, and you know, it's becoming more corporate, but it's a city that hustles and has Wall Street and is, you know, keeping the economy really going. And, you know, I just kept seeing people, you know, like the spring breakers on the beach partying and not really caring. And I'm like, watch what happened, because it's gonna come to you next, you know what I mean? And but my family, they're taking it seriously. Like my grandmother is she just turned 91, and my parents won't even see her. There was a picture of my mom and my younger sister showing up to her house on, you know, this past Easter with just like some chocolate and wine and stuff, and they leave it at the door, you know, they don't even touch her. So
sounds like they're being smart about it.
Yeah.
Oh, look who's here. It's Ash Wednesday.
Yeah.
I just brought a sandwich and a La Croix.
Nice. She's so sweet. She's so nice. That's what's up. Okay, so your family is taking it serious in terms, especially since you have an older grandma.
Mm-hmm. And but she's so funny. She like literally doesn't even care about death or anything. You know, I talked to her on the phone the other day because she sent me $1,000 for like Corona relief, and I'm like, thanks. Like now I can, you know, I can pay my rent, you know, without having to dip into my savings account that I like worked so hard to, you know, build up. And you know, she was just saying she's so like nihilistic and like, she, you know, she's not affected by it. She's just like, you know, and I decided if I get sick, I'm not going to the ER. I'm just going to have to die here, and y'all are just going to have to find me. And it's just like, dark. Okay.
Because she doesn't want to like glut the healthcare system, or she's just kind of, it's my time if I do go.
She's like, yeah, it's my time. She's like, I'm not going to have them plug me up and, you know, put all this tests on me and everything, you know.
Yeah.
She's very at peace with death, and she, I appreciate that about her. You know, she's not scared of that.
That's actually kind of inspirational. Maybe, hopefully, when we're all that old, we'll be as fearless as her, right?
Oh,
Like,
totally. I want to
'cause
be
you
like
can't-
her now, because she doesn't give a
Yeah.
shit.
What's her story? How did she end up in West Virginia? How many generations deep is your family from there?
So my grandmother, that's my mom's side. They're originally from Germany. And I mean, but they've been in America for like a million years. I mean, they didn't like just immigrate or anything. But she and my grandfather, who passed away in 2017, they were from Austin, Texas.
Oh,
Yeah. And
where I met you.
yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
Austin. So every time I was in South by Southwest, I sent her pictures. And so she was a school teacher and my grandfather was an engineer. And it was pretty cool because back in the day, in Texas, there was a lot of Mexican immigrants coming in over the border. And there's pictures of her, and her classes, like, second graders, and, half of them are these white cowboys and half of them are, Mexican migrants. And I thought that was pretty cool, because what is that, like the 40s or 50s or something like that, but basically, since my grandfather is a chemical engineer, they moved around a lot. And, they lived in Puerto Rico for a while. My mom went to elementary school there, and then they eventually went
wow.
yeah. So they went from, I guess, Texas to Charleston to Puerto Rico, back to Charleston. And they eventually settled in Charleston because it's a chemical valley there. I don't know how much chemicals they're doing now, but, back even when I was growing up, it's like they made mad chemicals. It was like the asthma capital of the United States, because the chemicals just get trapped in the valley.
Wow. Do people have health effects? You're saying people get asthma there, like growing up there?
Oh, yeah. Asthma's a big thing there. And then also, like, the rivers are all polluted. And, like, you could pull out, like, fish with, like, 3 eyes and frogs with
God.
like, six legs and shit.
And because of what, is that also a result of like the strip mining and
Yes.
stuff? Would that happen there too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of runoff from the coal mines for sure, and the mountaintop removal.
You went to college in New York though, right?
Yes. I went to Pratt in Brooklyn. So I've been in Brooklyn since 2008.
Wow, 12 years.
Yeah,
It's
crazy.
a long time.
It's a long time.
Max, what was it like going to Pratt? And how has New York changed in your estimation? Because you've been there longer than most people. Like, maybe those questions go hand in hand.
When I first started going to Pratt, it was really awesome. Because I had always wanted to leave West Virginia. I think a lot of people from Appalachia hold a lot of shame about where they come from, just because of the stereotypes in America of like hillbillies being, these uneducated, racist, people who don't got any teeth and they're fucking smoking meth and shit,
Right.
And it's like,
Yeah.
hey, I only smoked meth once. But it's
Like that documentary about the wild whites of West Virginia.
Exactly. But it's like,
Yeah.
I remember first seeing that documentary and getting like kind of pissed because it's, unfortunately, a lot of people in the state are like that. But my family wasn't like that. And a lot of my friends that I went to school, weren't living in trailer parks shooting each other and shooting up heroin. You know what I mean? That wasn't my experience. And, but when I went to New York, it was like kind of basically an escape. Especially being, an LGBT person. And back in the day, it's like, even me, when I was like identify as a lesbian, I even felt unaccepted or different from back then. So coming to New York was very much an escape. It was awesome, and it finally allowed me to like have the safe space to blossom into who I actually was, which I had been, hiding for safety reasons, basically.
Being around artists in like one of the most amazing cities in the world, I bet.
Night and day. It was the cultural differences.
Yeah.
I mean, you could be whoever you want in New York City, and nobody gives a shit. And that is amazing,
And no one knows your business on the street. I love that.
Yeah.
Right? You can just walk down and who cares?
I can be as flamboyant as I want, holding anybody's hand that I want, and I'm not going to get shot with a rifle.
When did you know that you were LGBT? With like in
I knew like when I was 4.
Really?
Yeah, no, like as early as I can remember, I knew I was a boy.
Yeah.
And I knew I was attracted to women. Like I remember I had like daydreams about like my preschool teacher. I had a crush on my preschool teacher. And then I had dreams, I didn't know what being gay was. So I thought, in a way, the only way to for that to be possible between me and my preschool teacher is if I was male. And that's not to say I already didn't feel male. Like I already felt male, inside. But yeah, no, I knew since like baby years for sure.
Who was the first transgender person you met in real life?
It's sad because in West Virginia, the only trans person I knew was this woman that everybody called Miss Elizabeth, who was, a trans woman who wasn't on hormones, who hadn't, physically transitioned. So they were still, presenting in a lot of the public's eyes as, oh, that's, a man in a dress. That was the sentiment towards this person. And it really, to me, represented what I didn't want to be. I was terrified of having being a homeless drug addict who was very mentally ill, screaming, not like screaming like stuff you didn't even understand up and down the streets, and having people laugh at you. And, that just basically made me hide who I was even more, until I moved into New York. And Ashley knows this person. I became friends with and had a relationship with the first trans man that I really, came in contact and started to have a close relationship with, Ryan. And, I feel like these are very sad stories, but it's like, this is, has been the reality for trans people. Really up until the last couple of years when, there's been hormone blockers and, a lot of more teenagers or preteen youth and children even, and transgender children and, schools in Brooklyn are even being accepted,
Yeah.
But that's not the case for our community for the majority of this lifetime until the past, I'd say fucking, 2 years, is when transgender rights really started happening, really.
Do you feel like you can use your platform as an artist to educate people about these issues?
All the types of art that I make are really about me being me, on a day-to-day basis, when I'm walking around the streets or meeting new people or, going to a dinner party or something, I don't walk in and I'm like, hey, everybody, just so you know, I'm transgender. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you would be able to know this from my art because I feel like representation is important. And if I had seen transgender people being portrayed in a light that was not anything less than, human, I would have felt way more comfortable being myself. And just to see other transgender people like me. And it was crazy that I did not run into other transgender men until I was 22 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. 22.
Living in New York.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel that people are becoming more accepting and more like the conversations going towards a positive place? Or do you think we have a long ways to go?
It's funny because I'm actually friends. I think most of my friends are cisgendered people. I'm friends with a lot of queer people, and even the hetero people I'm friends with are like, they got queer leaning stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even like the
Right.
husbands, they're like, yeah, you can like peg me and put shit in my butt. You know what I mean? Like it's like very open and
Right.
sexually and fluid. I would say fluid. I fuck with fluid people. Whether you're cis het or not, I don't discriminate in that way. And I think that there's a lot more allies. And because being transgender, people are starting to come out of the woodworks to be themselves because we are finally creating a safer place in society for people to say, hey, I have this experience too. And I think that hate comes from ignorance. And, when you are a quote unquote hillbilly and you've never traveled even to the biggest city in your state, or you've never come in contact with even an regular, I said regular LGBT. Because that's what it is. It's like
Right.
LGB. Okay, the T's been left off for a very long time.
Yeah.
And that's the ignorance breeds that, and I think that the more and more people, transgender people that are coming out and being loud and being proud and being openly who they are is in turn helping bring more cis allies. Because I realized for me, there was some people in my life who I was actually very terrified to come out to when I transitioned. But it takes a lot of courage, but I've taught people so much about just my experience in being human and opening their minds to being more accepting of not only, transgender people, but of all bodies. And I think that especially in more progressive communities, we're really going towards a place of accepting all bodies, fat, skinny, disabled, and accepting all genders, accepting all sexualities, So I think that's, we're heading in the right direction for sure.
That's dope. And for people to show that they're comfortable in who their real gender, it's like, it's saying, oh, this is a real thing. Don't belittle this or don't, this is real. And like, this is making people happy. And this is like how the world was always meant to be, but we were too like covered up with our own insanity to realize this. Like,
yeah. That's
what's dope. And knowing you, like, before you transition, after knowing you're this is like who you are, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. This is Max.
Yeah.
Max was always Max, and it makes me happy that like you found that peace. So props to you.
Yo, thank you, man. Thank you. And so many people had that same experience. Like people who I was close to, like literally I told them and they're like, oh, you didn't do that yet?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like you've always been Max. And,
Right.
Even people like you know, some people, one of my coworkers that I work with, who knew me for a year as Meg, and, you know, the rest of our years as Max, which I'm in my 4th year now of my transition. I just celebrated 3 years in December.
Nice.
And even she was like, I can't even remember. Because we'll look at footage sometimes if I, you know, happen to pop on the camera or we see a picture and it's like, even I'm like kind of taken aback or like, it's like very cathartic and like almost jarring. And I'm like, whoa, that is a different person.
Yeah.
You don't remember that every day. Yeah. Costume
that was just you were putting on, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to talk briefly about your work with Claire and Ash and HJA and how the group come together, and how does it feel now, like seeing those old videos? Is it something you kind of, it's like in the past? And we don't have to talk about it if you don't want.
No, I'm happy to talk about it. So HJA started, I'd say, 2012, and I had just graduated college, and I ran into these 2 young women who were rapping. And I made a music video for them, and then I started making raps myself because I've always been into writing and music. Before 2012, I never tried rap, you know, and I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd always listened to hip hop and been a hip hop head. Like, that's what I primarily grew up, you know, listening to is hip hop, pop rap, different variations. And, you know, now that it's been, I think about, it's been about 4 years since the band broke up. And I've actually really revisited some of those music videos. And, you know, I have to say now that like being in HJA was one of the best parts of my young adult life. Just the connection and the adventures we had, and we all had the same sense of humor. So I remember we did this tour in 2014, and we were just like fucking having fun.
Yeah.
And we were sober too. Like acting like Looney Tune goons, but like wilding out, like going to the Washington Monument and like making like fart noises and twerking, and like going to like the fucking Red Sox stadium and saying, "Go Yankees, go Yankees." You know, like we were like provocative as fuck, and it was just so fun.
What I thought was dope about like learning about your band and seeing your videos like messing around the streets was how to provoke people both as like, should this type of group even exist in hip hop? and getting to know your personalities when you did the you did a series for that.
Do what you want always. I loved it because being in HJA was very empowering completely.
Yeah.
Because it was like we came constantly with like, we don't give a fuck attitude, and it's like in your face, and we'd hear the comments you know, the stuff we were rapping about was like, we were rude as fuck. And like, it was like, you know, but that was so fun, you know, and this was also before PC culture was very much like PC. You know, I was saying bitch that, bitch this. I don't rap about bitch. I don't say bitch in a insulting term no more, you know, in my writing. I don't, you know, but back then we were just, you know, and people weren't expecting us. We'd show up to a show and they'd be like, this is going to be so whack. And then we would just demand the attention on stage, you know, and we would, we'd call you out.
or I remember South by South one year, you were standing in the front and this guy was standing there, and like you would make these funny asides. You're like, this dude looks just like E40. Don't he look like E40? Yo, E40's right here. Like just all the chaos going on stage with the shows.
Yo, because it was And people were so confused because they were like, is this hip hop or is this comedy? I think we didn't want to be seen as a comedy band. I think that was our one main thing, but that was definitely an element. And that's why people, I think, were so gravitated towards the band, is because it was funny, you know?
Yeah.
And that's funny you mentioned that. I used to call people out on stage all the time, just like a stand-up comedian would. You know,
Right.
I would pinpoint, usually it'd be the drunkest bro in the room I would kind of target and, you know,
Right.
and like slam him a little bit, you know, but
Yeah. Well, it's like Max, it's like the Sex Pistols had a short, intense lifespan, right? With
Mhm.
punk rock. Like it was like that. Y'all had a what, 4-year run, 5-year run?
let's see. I think
How long was it?
we started 2012. I think stopped officially in 2016. So yeah,
Okay.
that's 4 years, right? Yeah, that's 4.
Four impactful years, and you toured internationally, and
Yeah.
you had Lena Dunham and Taylor Swift tweeting one of your songs or Instagramming it, and like just these moments of this bright
Mhm.
like Halley's Comet. So on that note, you directed a lot of videos for the group. And what makes you think a good music video in your estimation? Like,
Yeah, that's you know, this past year I feel like I've actually gone back to those videos and started, you know, revisiting, cuz after, you know, we broke up, I took some time away from you know, I guess thinking about it, revisiting the art, taking space from that. And the past year, like I've been I watched all the videos again, and I was like, I was inspired by my own art. You know what I mean?
that's tight.
Taking you know, taking like 3 or 4 years, you know, and not looking at this stuff. And I think, you know, the most inspiring video to me, that was, I mean, even back then and even now, when I want to create something, I think especially back then, I was very much leaning towards, I want this to be radical, in your face, and I want visuals that people have not seen before.
Right.
And I continue that into my art today, you know. I just finished filming a film that I think is very creative in terms, it's like a horror film, a campy horror, and the characters, I'm really happy with the characters that we made, because I think they're just, I can't say, oh, that's a troll or a clown. I don't know what the fuck that is. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's what I want.
Right. That's cool. So this is it's like a horror movie that's coming out, an independent horror
Yeah,
movie?
indie horror. Yes.
That's tight.
Yeah. So I think I'll probably premiere it in Berlin in October, if, you know, the flights ever open back up again. And
Yeah.
if Trump's elected again, I might just stay out there.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, I started building, you know, a community out there. So it's my friend John Dett, who I make music with, he told me the other day, he said, "Get out now, it's a sinking ship."
Is he an expatriate too?
Yeah, he's an expatriate. I met him in Brooklyn, and he moved to Berlin in 2017, and he loves it there. You know, he's a painter, he's a rapper, you know, very alternative, like trash garbage rap, where he doesn't even like rap right, you know what I mean? And
Right.
he just has this whole persona of this like homeless drug addict man who's constantly in debt, and John Dett, you know, and
Oh, right.
and you know, he couldn't make money and afford to live in New York as an artist anymore. And now he's, you know, I seen him over there, and he's very happy, you know, very chill, and he loves it, you know.
Berlin, I mean, all the Bowie and Iggy Pop, so many people who have been inspired by that city.
I love Berlin. I think it's a
Yeah.
wonderful, amazing city. Friendly in
Hugely.
all aspects. I mean,
Yeah.
very, you know, immigrant friendly. There's so many Turkish and Lebanese people there, very LGBT friendly, very sex positive. I mean, they had a porn festival there. And I mean, people from that city were just walking in and filling up 200 seats. I mean,
wow.
You would not see that in America, you know? Like very open-minded people out there, you know? So.
Yeah. And it's like, that's cool, Max. So you've created these connections across the world to showcase your art, to collaborate. And I would say your collaboration style is that's one of your superpowers. And I wanted to just mention memory real quick. 5 years ago when we filmed the video with Watsky.
Yeah.
And it was the first project we did together, and we're in front of the steps of the public library, and all of a sudden kids show up and you're like, oh yeah, I got a few kids for the shoot. And we're like, all right. But it was like, you had like 30 kids. One of the kids memorized all the lyrics. They were like breakdancing. Like, it was so impressive. How did you pull that off? I
wasn't even expecting that. Well,
it was awesome.
The thing is, you know, I like as a director, I have access to a bunch of casting sites, and there's so many actors and actresses in New York who are willing to do free work to get exposure, and who
so they all work for free.
Yeah, they want to participate. They want to build their reels. They want the footage so that they can send it to, you know, commercial casting agencies. Sure. And usually I'll you know, for this it was like, okay, I'm gonna cast like 15 people because only like 3 will show up, right? Because it's free. Right. But I forgot that fucking acting moms are psychotic, and they're gonna show up to fucking everything, and they're gonna make that child go above and beyond. They're like, you got twins? We got twins. We got
those 2 kids. And then that guy who was like an amazing break dancer who did the slow motion stuff. And then the Asian kid who memorized the whole song. Like, I was like, what? I didn't even know you'd sent them to track. I was like, it was like the best.
And what was amazing is I didn't tell them to do any of that. I didn't. I said, here's the song if you want to learn the hook. That's all I said. And other than that, I said, feel free to bring any talents. If you have talents, please bring them. This is what happened.
And I remember 2 things. The first was, I remember you gave me a note that I will never forget that I've used for other videos. You were like, Lars, why are you not looking at the camera? Look right at the camera. You're looking away. And from then on, from music videos, I always made eye contact. I always kind of like shied away. Oh. And you were like, that doesn't read as confident. When you're talking to someone, it might be polite.
Right.
And you said that. And then for the rest of the video, I was locked like straight on.
Locked in. Yeah.
That video was the most viewed video for that cycle of songs. So
how much views did it get?
Well, I think like 80,000.
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's fun because it's fun to watch, you know? The scene with the girl in the bedroom.
You had good instincts. Yeah, with the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Little Kaylin, MC Kaylin, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I was just goofing around on the camera, like looking at the stuffed animals and making weird faces.
Yeah.
You have this talent for getting the weird, awkward, strange moments and then putting them in where most people might be like, okay, that's odd. So.
And I find like a lot of times when I'm editing, even if it's narrative stuff, I put in a lot of stuff where the people are not deliberately acting. So like they think, no, seriously, when they think the camera is not rolling, I think those are the most authentic moments. And I fucking take that shit.
Yeah. And that's what's up. And haven't you done some videos for Mike Doty?
Yeah. Me and Mike did a ton of videos when he used to live in Brooklyn. We knocked off, a ton. And those were fun too.
There's a dude who's from the South who had quite a journey, right? Who found his home in New York. Also like similar in that way, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for real, for sure.
Have you read his book? I just finished reading it.
I've been it's nuts. I've been stuck on this nonfiction psychology book for like 6 months, but I'm like so OCD. I like make myself like finish the book. And
That's smart.
I'm like going, it's interesting, but I go so slow through nonfiction. I need to pick up a memoir or like a story because I'll fly through those, you know. But I want to read it. I've been needing to read that book.
It's interesting to see his journey to become the solo artist. Max, so you're a very busy man, but what is coming up for you? And like, is there anything we can plug or social media? Because I always like to make sure that my guests are able to promote anything they want.
When the quarantine is lifted, I have like 5 screenings that my film Switch is going to be playing at. One will be in Toronto, one will be in Italy, one will be in Berlin, and one will be at a festival in New York. So right now the dates are to be decided since nothing can really be decided at this point. But in terms of releases that I have control over, I'm actually literally just finished mastering an album that I wrote with John Dett in Berlin in October. So we hope to release that. I'd say probably in May we'll have it out.
Wow, that's soon.
Yeah. So
that's tight.
It's called Shit Don't Change. So say Uncle Meg and John Dett, Shit Don't Change.
That's what's up.
Spring 2020.
You have a lot of solo stuff on Spotify, and your Take Me Away song kind of blew up on Spotify.
Yeah, it did. It kept getting added to like all of these like superhero playlists, Avenger playlist. I'm like, what the hell? Okay, I don't even really fuck with superheroes like that.
Did you hire like someone to service it, or just kind of happened?
No, I had somebody who put it on there, who serviced
That's what's
it.
up.
So he'd put it up, you know, on Avengers, you know, soundtrack playlist, and then I guess, you know, other playlists could see from there, you know, because this, you know, all of this stuff, you know, for artists now is a constant algorithm. That's all it is.
Totally.
Instagram's an algorithm, Spotify's an algorithm, and I feel like, you know, and it's like, I feel like a fucking, you know, fraud sometimes saying, oh, I paid this person, you know, to put my song on a public playlist that people are listening to. But in a sense, that's how artists are getting exposure.
That's what labels do. And if you can do it without having to like give all your royalties away, like props, right? That's just how it is.
For real. You pay a one-time fee. Here's a playlist. If it pops off to other playlists. And unfortunately, that song, you know, was big among the superhero fans. So
I always appreciate when I get to catch up with you. I appreciate your realness. Where do you like to send people for social media, like Twitter, Instagram, or?
Yeah, Twitter and Instagram are good. I haven't been, you know, much of a Facebook user lately, just because I find they're a little transphobic and discriminating. But I got my whole page shut down, bro.
For what?
For putting a picture of 2 transgender people kissing.
Really?
On my artist page. And
What?
I had like I had like 2,000 likes on that shit, and they canceled it out.
That sounds very transphobic.
So you know, I had to restart it. Yeah, Facebook's transphobic, and they're
That's whack.
racist. But
Yeah.
so I you know, I do the Facebook a little bit, post some, you know, nice PC pictures for my grandmother and my family to look at. But
Right.
you know, other than that, all the other stuff, I keep it to Instagram and Twitter. The Instagram is Uncle Maxi Boy, and the Twitter is Uncle Max Skaff.
Do you have a favorite HA song we could end with?
Pussy Chicken, for sure.
So we're listening to Pussy Chicken by HJA. Remind us the name of your film that's premiering.
Oh, so my film that's out now, that's gonna have several screenings across the world, is called Switch. And I have a new film that will be, I think we're gonna do a New York screening pretty soon. And my new film is called Serum, and I'm hoping to premiere that in Berlin this October at PFFB Festival as well. So stay tuned for those films.
For that flavor. Lots of great stuff coming out from Max. All right, thanks a lot. So here's Pussy Chicken. Peace.
Yeah.
hardest. It's hardly an example of a hard diss. I'm a motherfucking Marxist, redder than the neck of Bubba Sparks is. I'm a beguiling Galately Lebowski hybrid. I'm pure id. Rap game grandma Moses, but occasionally I get carded.
Motherfucker, suck a clit, a die, trying for nothing. Muffin top, pancake ass. When I see your butt strutting down this freak meat shop in a prostitute housing. Kitty cat, I'm about to be bouncing like
Sus that lust in the busty bus, left in the dust with you to trust. I don't need your good luck. I'm daddy damn boy bucks. Pussy chicken, buck, in a row are all my ducks. And in a shit pond blonde is where you're about to get stuck. I said we could be friends and I'm taking it back.
I accepted your amends, but now I'm taking it back.
my baby in your uterus. I'm taking it back.
I'm taking it back. I'm taking it back.
Oh my god, oh my god. Can't believe I called you again. Oh my god, oh my god. This is so embarrassing. Oh my god, bitch.
Yo, you got hair in your face and a tumor in your back, and I never get wet from your pimpled ass crack. Mega Millions is my shit. I'm sucking on this bitch's tit, and she looking at me like, will you marry me, bitch?
So high they look like pieces on my sweetest shit. I can't shit nails, soya beans, Goya. Better gird your loins for this ill troika. Mrs. Mia Wallace, I'm the tallest and I'm flawless. Mr. Chairman, on to your comrade, boy, you got me falling. Ghost dad.
All that's gold does not shine. What's now yours was once mine. I ignored the warning signs and I take back what I rejected so many times. Oh, I don't even want to revisit the situation. But let's remember, this all trickles down slowly. Titration.
My hand down your panties, girl. I'm taking it back.
We roll in threes and we taking it back.
Get down on your knees and beg us, please take it back. We're taking it back. We're taking it back.
Oh my god, oh my god. Can't believe I called you again. Oh my god, oh my god. This is so embarrassing. Oh my god, bitch. Oh my god. You've reached the voicemail of Ash Wednesday. Leave a message after the beep. What the fuck? What the fuck? If you don't call me back, bitch, I'm blocking your number. What the fuck? What the fuck? If you don't call me back, bitch, I'm blocking your number. What the fuck? What the fuck? If you don't call me back, bitch, I'm blocking your number. I'm blocking your number, bitch, blocking your number. I'm blocking your number, bitch, blocking your number.
Pussy chicken.
Handjob Academy, that is Pussy Chicken. That is on IKEA Monkey, which is a great record. And I encourage you all to check out that piece of Brooklyn rap history. All right, next week, speaking of rap history, we got Brer Rabbit from the Flowbots. Stefan, who did the interview with me remotely from Denver, and he's doing some great activism work. Flowbots are still going strong. Y'all probably remember the 2008 mega hit Handlebars. He talks about how that changed their lives and everything. It's a cool interview. I know him through my friend JJ, who was my former manager, who was their manager. So that's what's up. I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're not going nuts. I've been offline. I don't know if you've noticed. I've kind of taken a break from social media and stuff. But June, I'm going to be doing the weekly Stage It shows. And obviously, the Revenge of the Nerds 2 is coming out at the end of the month. The Marvel stuff. So it's not like I haven't been productive, but I'm just not like tweeting constantly because I'm trying to be present with my son for the beginning of his life and for the rest of his life. But like, this has been particularly a time of focus. Anyway, thank you all for helping me grow and keep this platform going. I promise to create more music. I love you all. Thanks, Maximus, for being on the podcast. I'll talk to you all soon. Peace.